everyone. I am DrKPrasannaKumar, General and Laparoscopic Surgeon from Department of General Surgery, having of more than 5 years of teaching experience and 6 publications to my credit and associated with the 5 professional bodies. Today we are going to discuss about ulcers, cysts and tumors. So what I'm going to talk about in detail of ulcers, cyst and tumor, how to examine, what is its definition, clinical features and its treatment managements. So we'll go into the topic. First we will discuss about ulcers. Ulcer is nothing but is a break in the continuity of a covering epithelium. It can be a skin or a mucous membrane, which is commonly caused by trauma, infection and a vascular insufficiency and malignancy also. So classification of an ulcer, it is based on the traumatic ulcer, infective ulcer, venous ulcer, arterial ulcer and neoplastic ulcers and malignant ulcers. Traumatic ulcers is commonly caused by mechanical, chemical and thermal injuries. So it is commonly seen in oral cavities, limbs and any pressure areas, which is a painful and with irregular margins and a slough tissue. So which is healed by a removal of a cause and antiseptic wound care. So infective ulcers are which is resulting from any kind of bacterial, viral and fungal infections. For example, tuberculosis, syphilitic ulcers and tropic ulcers. So edges often undermined and with a granulation tissue base will be there. So which requires appropriate antibiotics and specific antimicrobial therapy is needed. So first we will discuss in detail few topics of infective ulcers, that is tuberculous ulcer, which is very important, which is commonly caused by a microbacterial tuberculosis, which is edge will be undermined and base will be the pale with the unhealthy granulation. So here the undermined edges is very important clinical features for tuberculous ulcers, which is commonly often by any kind of primary is commonly secondary to any kind of lymph node involvement. So treatment will be anti-tubercular therapy, which is essential for the healing. And septic ulcers are primary, secondary and tertiary. Primary is nothing but hard chancres with indurated base will be there. In secondary syphilitic ulcer, there will be mucus patches and which is a painless. And tertiary syphilitic ulcers is gummatous ulcers with punched out edge and treatment with the penicillin regimens. Tropical ulcers, common in tropical climates due to mixed infections, begins as a papilla ulcer formation with undermined edges, which is a painful and foul smelling and a discharge will be there. Painful, foul smelling discharge. Requires debridement and antibiotics. Painful, foul smelling discharge will be there and requires a proper wound debridement and antibiotics. So venous ulcers due to a chronic venous insufficiency located around the medial malleolus, which is a shallow ulcer, irregular ulcers, which is a shallow irregular edges with a pigmented around, managed with a limb elevations and a compression therapies. Arterial ulcer, which is due to a ischemic from arterial diseases, which is a painful punched out pale base, commonly over the toes, heels and lateral malleus. Requires a vascular correlation and a wound care. So neuropathic ulcers is caused by sensory loss, which is a diabetic neuropathy, usually painless and located on a pressure points. Surrounded skin thickening and a callus, and controlled infections and offloading procedures will be helpful. So pressure ulcers is nothing but which is result from the prolonged pressures and ischemia seen in bedridden paraplegic patients, which is again grading from grade 1 to grade 4. So which has to be prevented by repositioning of the frequent mobilization of the patient and the wound care is important. So which is prevented by a repositioning and a proper wound care. So malignant ulcer, which is developed from a chronic ulcers, that is marginal ulcer. So edges are averted, indurated and with a foul discharge. So biopsy is essential for the confirming the diagnosis and the treatment is a wide local excision is the treatment option. So clinical features of all ulcers, usually it will be painful ulcer or a painless ulcer and we have to know the location, site, place. Clinical features of ulcer, if the patient will comes with the ulcer over any localized region which is a painful or it can be painless also, and any kind of discharges, that can be a serous discharge, it can be a pus discharge, or it can be a bloody discharge also. And with the patient, sometimes the patient will be present with the slough discharges. So margins and bases has characterized the diagnosis, and surrounding the skin changes which indicates the etiology, and systemic features which depends upon the cause. And what are the investigations are required for an ulcer? So first investigation is go and swab culture and wound sensitivity test, and biopsy is required if you are suspecting any kind of malignancies, and Doppler or angiography of the vascular ulcers will also be helpful to rule out any kind of vascularity abnormality is there or not. Similarly, we have to rule out any blood sugar levels and serology in the infective causes. So general principles of a management of an ulcer. First we have to identify general principles of management. We have to identify and treat the underlying cause, wound debridement and infectious control, optimize the nutrition and the circulation, dressing and appropriate antibiotics, specific treatment of approach. Venous ulcer, compression therapy, arterial ulcer is nothing but revascularization. For neuropathic ulcers like offloading and glucose control, and infective ulcers is specific antimicrobial therapy will be helpful. So complications of ulcer, if you are not treated the ulcer in appropriate time, so what are the possibilities can be there is nothing but secondary infection and cellulitis can be also occur. So hemorrhage and sepsis, scarring and contractions, and malignant transformation and chronic ulcers. So now we'll talk about the cyst. Cyst definitions is nothing but a pathological cavity having a fluid or a semi-fluid content, usually lined by an epithelium, may arise from the developmental obstruction or a degenerative processes, can occur in any tissue or organ. So classification of a cyst, it can be a congenital cyst or acquired cyst. Congenital cyst we'll discuss in congenital cyst, we will give a few examples, and we'll talk about that in next slides. And acquired cyst is nothing but retentional cyst, implantation cyst, parasitic cyst, neoplastic cyst, and pseudocyst. So now we will start with the congenital cyst, which is commonly present from the birth due to developmental abnormalities. For example, brachial cyst, thyroglossal cyst, which is commonly lined by epithelium, which is derived from the embryonical membrane. So often contains a clear or a cheesy fluid will be there. So retention of the cyst, so it is caused by obstruction of a duct of the gland, which is examples like mucus cyst, sebaceous cyst, which is content will be secretions remained behind the obstruction. So treatment is needed is surgical excision. Now implantation cyst, it is nothing but due to any implantation of epithelial cells into a deeper tissues after any trauma. So commonly occurs after penetrating injuries, which is lined by squamous epithelium and filled with a keratin. So treatment option is complete excision is the treatment option. So next we will talk about parasitic cyst, which is caused by a parasitic cyst, which is caused by a parasitic infections. For example, hyoid cyst, which is a cyst wall is lined by a parasite derived membrane and which contains a fluid which is with a scoliosis, which requires a surgical excision. And now we'll talk about the neoplastic cyst, parts of a benign or a malignant tumors, which can be cystic adenoma or a cystic adenocarcinoma are the examples, which contains a serous or mucinous fluid and which is managed as per the tumor type. Now we'll talk about sebaceous cyst, which is commonly we see in our clinical OPDs, which is a retentional cyst of a sebaceous gland, commonly occurs over the scalp, face and the back and elsewhere in the body. So contains a cheesy keratinized material which is treated with a complete excision with a sac. One more important topic is dermoid cyst, which is a developmental cyst which is lined by a squamous epithelium, contains hair, sebum and epithelial debris, which is commonly be in the midline or sides of embryonic fusions. Treatment is a surgical excision is a better option. Brachial cyst, which is a remnant of a second brachial cleft located along the anterior border of sternocleidomastoid muscle, which contains a clear fluid, may become infected if it is not treated in proper time. So treatment, again, it will be a surgical option. Surgical excision is the treatment is complete surgical excision. Investigation for a cyst, ultrasound and CT for localization, and FNAC or aspiration for the diagnosis, serology for parasitic cyst, and histopathological examination to confirm our diagnosis. So if you are not treated in the the complications of the cyst, which is the cyst can be get infected, and it can abscess also formation can be. So complication of the cyst is nothing but infection and abscess formation, a rupture and a spread of a content, and pressure over the adjacent structures, and malignant transformation can be also be occurred. So general principles of a management of a cyst: accurate diagnosis and before accurate diagnosis and before intervention, and avoid incomplete excision to prevent recurrence. So aseptic techniques for parasitic cyst. Histopathological examination will be helpful for the confirmation of diagnosis. Surgical management, any kind of cyst, total excision is the better option, which is a curative for most of the cyst, so which avoids a rupture during surgery. And drainage, only do the incisional drainage we have to follow when the cystic wall is infected or cystic incisional drainage has to be do when we are suspecting any kind of infected cyst. So recurrence has to be prevented by a complete removal of the wall. Now we will talk about the tumors. Tumors are nothing but it can be a growth of a new cells which proliferates independently of a need of the body. So which can be benign or a malignant, which is caused by genetic mutations which is lead to uncontrolled proliferations, which forms the basics of an oncological study. So classification of a tumors, it can be benign tumor, it can be malignant tumor, it can be pre-malignant conditions also. Completely it is based on the tissue of an origin and biological behavior. Characteristics of benign tumors, which is a benign tumors are usually a slow growing tumor and it is encapsulated, and which is do not invade or metastasis. Cells resembles like a normal tissue that is well differentiated, which is commonly causes symptoms by pressure effects only. So characteristics of a malignant tumors, which can usually a malignant tumors will be a rapid growth, infiltrative and uncapsulated growth. Characteristics of a malignant tumor, it is a rapid increase in size, infiltrative growth and uncapsulated tumor, which invades the surrounding tissues, and metastasis of the tumor is also possible in malignant tumors. So this cell shows pleomorphism and atypia cells. Often recurrence can be more possible after removal of these malignant tumors. So mode of the spread, we have local invasion, lymphatic spread, hematogenous spread, transcoelomic spread, and implantation spread. We will discuss in detail one by one. So local invasion is nothing but a tumor cells infiltrate surrounding tissue, which destroys the normal architecture of the tissue, and is seen in both malignant and localizedly aggressive benign tumors also. Seen in both malignant and locally aggressive benign lesions. Important for surgical margin determinations. So lymphatic spread is nothing but which is commonly in carcinomas. Lymphatic spread is more common in carcinomas. Follows a natural lymphatic drainage pattern, regional lymph nodes enlargement and hardens. So which helps in tumor staging. Hematogenous spread is nothing but a typical of a sarcomas. Via veins it spread to lungs, liver, bones and any other parts of the body. So micrometastasis often precedes radiological detections, so which requires a systemic therapy. Transcoelomic spread is nothing but spread across the body cavities. So commonly it will be present in ovaries and gastric cancers, which results in a peritoneal seeding and ascites. So management is by cytoreduction surgeries and a chemotherapy. Implantation spread is nothing but which occurs accidentally during a surgical manipulation. It's nothing but heterogenic spread. So prevention of this implantation spread can be done by proper oncological surgical techniques. So which is commonly seen in gallbladder and ovarian malignancies pillages. So clinical features of any tumors will be, first of all, we have to identify the swelling, which is what is the type of a swelling. It's and we have to look for any associated symptoms like pain or not pain, any kind of ulcer is present over the swelling, or any bleeding is there or not. Then we have to look for loss of function and compression effects is there or not. And systemic symptoms are like weight loss and loss of appetite, anemia, all those things we have to rule out the malignancies. And the metastatic features, which completely depends on the site of the lesion. So investigations commonly required to confirm that our diagnosis is histopathological examination is the gold standard, and other imaging techniques are like other imaging techniques are ultrasound, CT, MRI, PET scan to rule out for the to confirm and to staging of the disease. And tumor markers will also be helpful for specific cancers, and biopsy confirms our diagnosis. So tumor grading and staging. Grading is completely based on the differentiation and tumor grading and staging. Grading is completely based on the differentiation and meiotic rate. Staging, which will know extent of the spread by helpful of TNM system, which both are essential for prognosis and treatment planning. Treatment modalities available for our any kind of tumors are surgical, radiotherapy, and chemotherapy, and immunotherapy, and a targeted therapy. Prevention and screening is very important in case we are suspecting any kind of malignancy or conditions. Like we have to avoid carcinogenic exposure. Vaccination is needed if it is possible, like HPV and HPV vaccination, and proper screening of malignancies is also very important. And early detection will improve the survival. So prognosis is completely depends upon the type and stage and response to the therapy. Early detection offers a better outcomes, and regular follow-up is mandatory post-treatment, and use of biomarkers aids monitoring. Summarizing of tumor. Any tumor in abnormal growth with autonomy, benign or localized, malignant or invade and spread, diagnosis by biopsy and staging investigations, multimodular therapy are essential for the cure. This ends my session. See you soon. Thank you.